Hello, dear students. Welcome to the class of Health and Physical Education, Unit 9, Psychology and Sports. And today's topic, which we are going to learn, that is importance of psychology in physical education and sports. What are the importance of psychology? We are going to learn here in this topic. So let's start without wasting the time. So importance of the sports psychology has been given that there are the little possibilities of the development in the aspects of the sports psychology. There are the possibilities are there. There are, because this term psychology itself is need to be very well understood. So there are the little possibilities of the development in the aspect of the sports psychology. So the possibilities of the more development in the field of depends on the field of sports depend upon the psychological aspect. There are the psychological traits of the physical education. For example, personality traits in the relation to the sports and games, sports intelligence, motivation for physical activity, growth and development, inclination, emotions, interest, attitude, motor skills learning, and individual differences. These all are considered as psychological traits. Clear? Which has been related to the sports. So that's why it has been given example. I hope so that you may understand that what are the psychological traits, what are the psychological aspects. These are the psychological aspects which are being related to physical education and games. That are, again I am going to read out, that sports intelligence, motivation for physical activity, or just motivation. It is either to with the help of physical activity or sports or games or in our day-to-day life. Then growth and development, inclination, that means that our interest towards any of the game or sports or the activity or for practice or for competition. Then emotions which are being attached to that, all these emotions. Then our interest, then attitude, motor skill learning, and individual differences. These all are being considered psychological traits. So the sports psychology plays an important and elaborate role in the field of physical education. The following points which illustrate the importance of sports psychology, we are going to learn the point one by one. That it helps the player psychologically in preparation for the pre-competition and post-competition. So here, when we are talking about it prepares the player. What is the importance of the psychology in sport? That it helps the preparation of the athlete or a player before competition and after competition also. So here, because we can't say that during the competition, because that depends that how much stress an individual or a person is having. So that's why it is helpful for the player psychologically in preparation of the pre-competition and post-competition. So sports psychology is also plays an important role in the preparation of the athlete psychologically for competitions. In fact, it has become a trend to give psychological tips to the athlete or a team player before and after the competition. They need to give a tip to the player. You have seen that before any of the match, the coach or the guide, they used to take a meeting and they used to give the tips that what you need to do in on the ground, what we are going to do. For example, if it is a match of football, then what you are going to do in the first half, how you are going to play, what are our tactics which we are going to apply in the first half. We also have to watch the opponent game also. So it take a little bit of time, so that everything need to be understood, but these tips are being given by the coach or by the guide or the manager, so in during the match. So in fact, it has become a trend to give the psychological tips to the athlete or a team player before and after the competition. You have seen in the movie Chak De India, at the last, the coach, he used to guide their teammates that these are the 40 minutes, you need nobody used to take from you. You play uh, with your will, and you need to play your game. You give your 100%. So that means that there are the lots of psychological tips are being given by the coach to the athletes or the team players before and after the competition. That is why the sports psychologist services are required with a national level and international team. That's why what happens, there is a need of the sports psychologist. And here in our country, when we are talking about this psychology, the term psychology is not that much developed as compared to the other developed countries. We are having less number of sports psychologists as compared to the developed countries, but this is need of the today's. if we want to improve in our game, if we want to see our player at the national and international level, then we need these sports psychologists, because they know well that how to train the, or how to guide the players or the competitors. They create and will to win in a player. They are going to create the will and win to in the player. There are the many of the motivational movies. When you used to watch these all motivational movies, you will come to know that how does this work, how the sports psychologist work. The next point we are having that it increases physical activity efficiency. That means that it increases the efficiency of an individual or an athlete or a player. So sports psychology plays a unique role in enhancement of the psychological capacities. What are the psychological capacities? Like strength, speed and flexibility. These are the physical fitness components. So these are being developed. These are the psychological capacities which are being developed with the help of this sports psychology. So motivation plays a major role in the enhancement of the in the physical capacity of a sports person. Definitely, if the person is being motivated, if the athletes are being motivated, then definitely these psychological capacities like strength, speed and flexibility, endurance, strength, these all increases if they are being motivated well. So it is a well-known fact, well as an established fact, that the psychological capacities or a power can increases psychological capacities of an individual. So what happens? These psychological capacities can be increased, but it is being increased with the help of the motivation. So what does the sports psychology do? It helps the player to increase the physical activity efficiency. Their efficiency increases when they are being motivated properly or in a proper direction. Then third importance is being given that role in sentiment problems of the player, sentimental problem. So sports psychology also plays to overcome these sentimental problems of a player. Like there are, you may have during the match, the many of the players, they used to when they used to see the many of the public, or when they comment on the player, then they are getting more anxious, they get stress, they get tension and anxiety, and the natural anxiety are these natural during the practice period in the competition or tournament. There may be some other emotional problems such as depression, frustration, and panic, etc. The knowledge of the sports psychology helps in such situation. The knowledge of the sports psychology helps in such situation to overcome the stress, anxiety, depression, frustration, and panic. This helps them to overcome and to give their good performance, their good output. So the techniques of the relaxation and the concentration for the stress management can be applied on the sports person who are facing such problems. So here what happens? Relaxation techniques are being applied. Through that relaxation technique, the player may have less stress, they may get less frustrated, or they get less depressed, and they will be more focused on any of the games or sports competition. So here relaxation techniques are being applicable and the concentration for the stress management can be applied on the sports person who are facing such problem. Conclusion: what is the conclusion on the basis of the what we have come to know, that it can be said that the sports psychologist plays a very important role in enhancing the performance of a sports person to deal with the problems. Now if any one of the players are having the sentimental problem, they are stressed, they get fear of the failure, that what is going to happen in the match, and then due to that their performance level used to drop down. So sports psychology helps such a player in managing these by relaxation techniques, and through these techniques of relaxation and concentration for the stress management is being focused on more, and this player can overcome from the problems. Then fourth point, we are having that learning speed or motor skills. So sports psychology plays also a major role in the learning of the motor skills. Motor skills learning depends on an individual level of the readiness. So here, level of the readiness, that means that I am ready to learn something. When I am ready, it is only been possible when when an individual or an athlete is mentally or physically strong. But if he is not mentally or physically strong and he is not showing the readiness to learn, then it is of no use. But this psychological readiness and this psychological readiness in the children is the development of the necessary strength, flexibility, and endurance, as well as the development of the various organ system, so that they may perform motor skills required in these activities. Now they are being psychologically boosted up. That means that through the motivation, through appreciation, uh, through positive type of attitude towards any of the players. If the coach or a guide, if they used to approach to the student in such a way positively, then definitely you can find out the psychological capacities of an children or of any of an athlete may increases, like strength, flexibility, and endurance also increase. Development of the organs is also must, and through the development of the organs their motor skills are also required in this activity. So psychological readiness is related to the learner state of mind. It means the desire and the willingness to learn the particular skill. What happens that in the school, when the physical education teacher, they are always behind the student to do a particular activity, and if the children is not interest showing the interest, because they are very much studious, many of the children, those who are studious, they focus more on the studies and less on the games. So what happened if we used to boost up such of the players, those who are not having interest in the games, and if they are not ready to learn the things or learn the skills, then what is going to happen? They cannot learn anymore. So this is the what it tells us, that in the psychological readiness in sports, psychology plays an important role. Sports psychology is also helpful in the cognitive stage, the associative stage, and the autonomous stage of a motor skill learning. So there are the different stages: cognitive, which has been related to our mental health; associative stage, where they are going to learn the many things all together; and autonomous, automatically they used to learn this all motor skill learning. So this is only been possible with the help of the sports psychology. So sports psychology helps in learning the speed or the motor skills. Next we are having fifth point, that is sports psychology is helpful for to control the emotions and sentiment. Again the sentimental, last we have learned the third point. In this we have already covered this, the same it has been here, it has been given. So let's see that sports psychology plays a very important role in controlling the emotions of the sports person during the practice as well as competitions. Definitely, because when the positive boost up is being given to any of the player or the athlete, definitely the performance level also increases. So they can through the relaxation techniques, they can overcome through many of this stress, anger, fear, negative thinking, negative self thinking, feeling of ownership, etc. If these emotions are not controlled well in time, then the performance may decrease. So there are the various techniques, relaxative techniques are there, through which a person can overcome through these sentiments. They can able to control these emotions. These emotions are like anger, disgust, fear, negative self thinking, and feeling of ownership. So sports psychology plays a very vital role on such a juncture. It helps in balancing the arousal of the emotions, which further improves their performance. So this sports psychology helps us in balancing this our emotions, so that athlete or a sports person, they may perform better. Then next we are having to understand the behavior. Sports psychology also helps in understanding the behavior of an athlete or a sports person, because we know that what does the psychology mean? Psychology means learning the behavior of an individual or any of the other person, or understanding the behavior of an athlete or sports person becomes a sports psychology. So when to understand the behavior of an athlete or a sports person engage in the competitive sports, so coach also comes to know the interest, attitude towards the physical activity, instincts, drive, and personality of the sports person. Coach is going to come to know related to the player's behavior, that whether the player is having an interest, whether he or she is showing the interest, or what attitude he or she is having towards any of the particular game or sports. Then what are his instincts, what are his drives, personality of that sports person is being related to the particular sports or not. Everything this coach used to come to know. It plays a very important role not only in understanding the behavior, but also in the modification of the behavior in the various sports situations. So sports psychology helps in not only understanding the behavior of a sports person, but it also helps us in the modification, that how we can change the behavior of an sports person. Clear? This is also through this possible through the sports psychology. if the proper facilities and these all things are being given to the player, then definitely their behavior can also be changed, they can be modified uh, into the various sports situations. Then next point we are having that it improves the skills. Sports psychology helps us to enhance the sports skills of the player. It helps us in increasing or improving the sports skills of a player. So it can be said the sports psychology enhances the performance of the player. So here it is very clearly it is been given that it helps, the sports psychology helps in not only the improving the behavior of an individual or modification of the individual's behavior, but it also helps us in improving the skills. When they are being properly motivated, when they are being guided, when they are being appreciated timely, they are given the appreciation for that, rewards are being given, then through these all these things the player used to get motivated, and definitely the chances of improving his or her skill is also more, and the performance level of a sports person also increases. The next point we it has been given that keeps mental hazard away. There are the mental hazard, there are the lots of obstacles comes in between the for the player during the learning phase, either it may be direct during the practice or whatever may be. So it helps us to keep the mental hazard away. So one of the major way of the sports psychology helps you to that through the stress reduction of the learning and the performance is through the stress reduction. So stress is being reduced through in the learning and the performance. While some stress is inevitable and natural, level of stress that is excessive lowers the performance. Sports psychology helps you to manage the stress and turn it into success. The same point sentiments related, these points are being given here. Again there is a stress, when the person is playing in the stress, definitely the performance used to reduce. So here what happens, there each and every player, it is not that some of the players are not having the stress. Even though a good player, either you may talk about the Roger Federer or Sachin Tendulkar, whoever may be, or Usain Bolt, there will be a little bit of stress when they are having going for the performance. Each and every player, they are having a stress. Now that is a natural, you can't avoid these all things, but you know that when the stress is being taken too much, then excessive stress, what happens, that used to reduces your performance level. So you need to overcome through this stress, and this stress can be overcome only through with the help of the sports psychology, which helps you to manage the stress, and in turn it helps you to improve the success, it used to get the success. The ninth point it has been given that it is helpful in learning the innovative techniques and style. So they see in the seventh point it was been given, it helps us in improving the skills. Now here it has been given that it helps us in learning the new skills or techniques or styles. Learning innovative techniques and styles. So psychological training should be an integral part of an athlete holistic training process, carried out in the conjunction with the other training element. Holistic training process means all round. When we are talking about holistic, that is all round training process carried out in the conjunction with the other training elements. This is the best accomplished by the collaborative efforts among the coach, the sports psychologist, and the athlete. However, a knowledgeable and the interested coach can learn the basic psychological skill and impart them to the athletes, especially during the actual practices. Definitely, you may find out that when the players are ready to learn the new skills or new techniques and that all. So here, what happens? This knowledge which the coach is having, that coach is teaching. You have seen in the new techniques are being taught by the coach, so that there are the various styles are there. Either you may perform a long jump, or you may perform the high jump. There is a Fosbury style, because previously in the traditional there was only a scissor, and then afterwards we are having the another of the style, that was to just jump over the bar. But here the Fosbury style is one of the style which helps an athlete to perform more and more better. But the coach, that is depends upon the knowledge the coach is having, and that depends upon the interest of a player to learn the new styles or new skills. Clear? So this is these are the new styles. Either for example in high jump we are having a Fosbury style, then we are in a shot put also we are having different styles are being applied for the shot put. Then for the long jump also different styles are, that means that whichever the style which is more successful, and the player must be able to learn that, they must show their interest in learning these styles. So psychological training, that is also sports psychology also helps us in learning the innovative techniques and styles for any of the player. So these are the importance, and in your textbook there are only 6 importance are being given. I want to just jot down one by one, that it enhances the psychological capacity like strength, endurance, speed, flexibility. These all are being these are the physical fitness components, but that are being possible through the psychological capacity. If it has been increased, then definitely the player is being motivated to improve his or her performance, his or her strength, flexibility, and endurance, and that all. Then it assists to learn the motor skills. This is the second point which has been given in your textbook. Helps us in learning the new motor skills we already learned. Then helps us in understanding the behaviors. Sports psychology helps in learning the behavior of an individual. So here the behavior is not only the behavior is being improved or understood, but the behavior is also being modified with the help of the sports psychology. Then fourth point, it is been given in a textbook, that is it helps in controlling the emotions. Definitely there are the various emotions like anger, disgust, fear, negative thinking, fear of ownership. These all are can be overcome. These emotions can be controlled through the help with the help of the sports psychology. Then preparation of the athlete psychologically for the competition. Mentally they are making the athlete tough or strong, so that they can overcome from the stress and that all, and they can perform more and more better during the competitions. Then fifth, sixth point, it is been given, it supports the emotional needs of the sports person. So emotional needs of the sports person are being supported. We have already learned that in these points. So these are the points. You can prepare the notes on the basis of this. The question are being asked that write down the importance of the sports psychology in physical education and sports. So it has been such questions are being asked for 5 marks also. Such questions are asked for 3 marks. It depends upon the marks then, and how much content you need to write down according to that. So you prepare the notes on the basis of this. So from my side today this much. Thank you everyone.